Testing 1, 2, testing 1, 2, 3, testing. Let me know when you. Testing 1, 2. All right.
Thank you for joining us today. As we've shared before since February, we are committed to providing you information about efforts we are undertaking as it relates to public safety and reducing crime here in the state's capital city. These briefings have been a part of that commitment, and we continue to work to act on the priorities set by our City Board of Directors with the City Public Health Emergency that started back in February. As you know, from February to about April, we had a weekly public safety briefing. At the end of April, we decided to transition to a monthly briefing to kind of give you more of a monthly aspect as we move forward. Obviously, the Little Rock Police Department is the city's first and foremost advocate for safe streets and neighborhoods. We have equipped the LRPD with resources to target high crime areas with additional patrols. The department has hired additional social workers to help de-escalate situations and prevent problems before they start. We are finalizing the comprehensive staffing study for LRPD that will identify where our personnel needs are most urgent, and will recommend how we can rearrange our staffing structure of the police department for safety and benefit of all Little Rock residents. We understand that crime and gun violence is on the increase nationally. Just yesterday, the CDC reported that gun homicides were higher than they've been in a quarter century. That's attributed to stress associated with the pandemic and multiple economic factors like income loss and housing instability. Many times when you see a rash in crime, it has a lot to do with social, economic, and educational issues, and we know just how COVID-19 unmasked a lot of issues and disparities, not only here in the city of Little Rock, but the state of Arkansas and the entire United States. We also understanding that stating that it's happening everywhere else too is cold to comfort as it relates to those of you who have been directly impacted by crime and gun violence. That's why we've intensified our holistic approach, and our holistic approach has always been proactive policing, but a strong focus on prevention, intervention, and treatment efforts here in the city of Little Rock. And that's the reason why we've been doing that the past few months. I want to share our appreciation to Michael Sanders, Dana Doucette, who's the leader of the director of the community programs, who are leading our efforts with the Office of Neighborhood Safety on this holistic approach as it relates to prevention, intervention, and treatment, ensuring that we save a generation, particularly our youth and young adults, which unfortunately have been fallen to the crime and fallen to many of these homicides that we've seen over the past year. As Chief Humphrey will share, while our crime rate is still higher than it was in 2021, it is trending downward. Again, while our violent crime rate is higher than it was in 2021, it is trending downward. What that looks like, as early as January 31st, our violent crime was somewhere around 26%. To date, it's somewhere around 5%. And so we've seen this downward trend from 26% to now 5%, and that is a credit to the men and women of Little Rock Police Department. That's also a credit to what we're doing as it relates to prevention, intervention, treatment, and that is what we call a holistic approach, both proactive policing and prevention, intervention, treatment. This downward trend is encouraging, and it indicates again that LRPD's tactics and strategies are seeing immediate results. It's even more encouraging knowing that our prevention and intervention efforts will reap benefits for years to come. Those efforts like convening our HOPE Council, which stands for Holistic Outreach Prevention in Every Neighborhood. They've already started their meeting, and we're hearing a lot of great ideas and innovation from our community leaders, and we're so happy that our community leaders are stepping up to get involved in crime reduction. When I say public safety is our priority for every city employee, I mean it. Our Office of Community Programs is currently executing contracts with local agencies responsible for violence prevention programs. Housing and neighborhood programs, planning, and public works are all focused on identifying, reducing blight. Again, I want to stress that. Housing and neighborhood programs, which handles most of our code enforcement, planning and development, which deals with many of the businesses within the city of Little Rock, and our Public Works Department, which deals not only with infrastructure, but also with solid waste and trash. And we're doing all that we can to reduce blight here in the city of Little Rock, because we've seen that where blight exists, oftentimes crime follows. Addressing blight is a concern across multiple departments. Research shows that often it's an empty house or an unmoved lot where crime in a neighborhood is taking place. Our sustainability office is asking community organizations to join in our Adopt a Street program to reduce litter and help beautify our city as we continue to do that and take more pride in the city that we all know and love. Little Rock Convention and Visitors Bureau as well has just announced its Adopt a street program. And so we're glad to see everyone who's really playing a role, particularly in our high crime areas, on what we're doing to reduce blight and to beautify those particular areas, because we understand those particular areas have seen more crime. In addition, I've asked every city employee, and I'm asking the Little Rock residents to notify us if there are street lights out in their neighborhoods. Decades of research shows that street lights are deterrents to violence. Darkness is a tool criminals use to keep from being identified, and it's less likely that a crime will occur in a well-lit area. An emphasis on street lights is paying off in some of the high crime neighborhoods in New York City, which I saw a 36% reduction in crime, and when it's introduced new lighting solutions in those neighborhoods. Again, we're going to have a more stronger focus on what we can do and working with our partners at Energy Arkansas to ensuring that when we see these lights that are out, that we're reporting them and going to 311, as well as Energy Arkansas's number, which is 1-800-OUTAGE. Again, if you see a light out in any area of the city, please call 311 to report it, or call directly to Energy Arkansas at 1-800-OUTAGE, 1-800-OUTAGE. Many people think that the city of Little Rock owns all the lights. We have a great partnership with Energy Arkansas, and that's why we're working with them to make sure this is addressed. Again, 311 or 1-800-OUTAGE. I'm committed to continuing this work with Energy Arkansas to replace these lights as needed, and we're grateful for the work that they're doing. They're working 24/7, but again, they only know what they know, and so we are going to increase that effort of communication as we focus with them. Energy assures us that they have service crews that are there working night and day to repair, and we're grateful for their work and continue to see the great work that they've done, not only during times of severe weather, but this is also an issue that they're going to continue to work with us. Finally, today, I want to take this time, as we know that Chief Keith Humphrey has announced his retirement last week, and it'll be effective on May 20th. Take this time to share my appreciation to him. When I hired him back in April of 2019, I hired him to not only lead public safety, but to increase community presence, to increase community policing, to ensure that we are accountable, clear, and transparent. And he has achieved all of that in his 3 years. He's helped our police department achieve meaningful police reform. He's helped see a downward trend in a national crime wave. He's helped take our police department to the next level as it relates to body-worn cameras, as it relates to starting the process for a real-time crime center, understanding the things that we're doing with our federal partners. And that's all due to his leadership. And I want to take this time to share my appreciation to him, acknowledging him of his 34 years. As we know, he's a native of Texas, went on to be a chief of police in Norman, Oklahoma, and has spent the last 3 years and 5 months with us here. And we're very grateful for his service, and we wish him well on his next chapter in life. And I'll now transition to Chief Keith Humphrey. And also, Chief Keith Humphrey was one of 25 police chiefs across the nation represented to discuss the ATF issues of the day. He just came back from D.C. last week, and that's a true honor to be one of the 25 police chiefs selected to do that. Or Little Rock was recognized for the work that we're doing because of our efforts with our kniving machine, dealing with gun shelling. So I want to talk about that.
Thank you so much. Hey, it's still good. Yeah, good morning. Good morning. I just want to go over a few things with you all. Thank you, Mayor, for those kind words. As the Mayor mentioned earlier, I did attend last week. I was honored to be able to attend the Chiefs of Police Executive Forum on Gun Crime Intelligence with the Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. This was held in Washington, D.C. at ATF's headquarters. We had real open discussion about gun violence and gun crimes, and so it was really amazing to people to ask what we're doing here in Little Rock to see, although we're seeing increases, but seeing a downward trend in some of those increases when it comes to violence. So I was honored to be there. So just wanted to share that with the community. We continue to work when we see our increases in violent crime across the city. Our targeted efforts are ongoing. They will not stop. We've discussed these ongoing efforts since February of this year. Though crime in Little Rock, just like any other city in the country, is higher compared to previous years, I'm proud to say that increase is trending downward. And notice that I said that increase is trending downward, which means we recognize the increase. We're working. The men and women of this department continue to work hard on a daily basis to ensure that those trends continue to decline. Compared to the point of 2021, violent crime is up 5%. It has been up as much as 26%, and at one point, I believe 34%. It was higher during the winter. But we've seen, like I said earlier, we've seen the increase trending down. I attribute that to the focused work of our men and women of our organization, and also the violence prevention efforts that the men and women of this organization are initiating and have since implementation. Now I want to discuss the homicides. We've had 12 homicides in Little Rock since April the 13th. Of those, we've had 6 arrests, and there is an active warrant for 1 suspect in another one of the cases. I can tell you that the data suggests that all of them were either domestic or acquaintance violence cases. I can't stress enough, and you all have heard me say this over and over again, we have to realize, we have to figure out a way to help people understand it's okay to agree to disagree. And those are things that conflict resolution in this city and throughout the nation has to improve. I continue to stress that simple disagreements are leading to the deaths of our citizens. Simple disagreements are leading to the deaths of sons, daughters, husbands, wives. And that's, we've got to help people understand they have to walk away. We continue to do our part in combating violent crimes and guns. So far this year, we have seized 242 weapons and 198 arrests related to those weapons. Because so many crimes are related to domestic violence and acquaintance violence, I want to also remember our tip line, 501-918-4387. If you're in an abusive relationship and you're not sure about how to get out, please call that line to get help. Also, if you have any other information regarding any other crime, we have an anonymous tip line, 501-371-4636. Let's talk about our amazing street crimes unit. As I mentioned earlier, we talked about violent crime is increasing but trending down. We've taken a data-driven approach. You know, one of the things I've talked about in the 3 years I've been here, the data doesn't provide us false information, and the only way that you can accurately fight crime or address crime is the data. And so that's one of the things that we are really big into, real-time crime information, real-time crime data. I'm so excited about the future implementation of the Real-Time Crime Center. That is going to be a game changer for our city. That is going to be amazing. We're addressing these areas that we're targeting, where we're noticing the crime. Our street crimes unit, they're amazing group of officers, just like all of our officers, but street crimes unit has been focused specifically in our areas where we're noticing the high uptick in crimes. Today, street crimes has made 77 arrests, 102 felony charges. They have served 54 warrants, 38 misdemeanors with over $3,000 and 15 firearms that have been seized. Also, to just let everybody know, we're getting into the warmer months, and we have implemented our Operation Fun Day Sunday plan. And let me talk a little bit about that. A lot of times, well, just in general, people like to show off their cars. You have individuals that like to show off their cars because they look real nice. Unfortunately, you have individuals that like to show off their cars because they drive very fast. This creates problems throughout cities in the nation. Racing, caravanning, it ties up traffic, it causes tempers to rise. And so we have, like we have in the last 2 to 3 years, we recognize that this is coming. We've done a really good job of predicting these type of incidents from occurring. So our street crimes unit, and as well as other officers that are focused specifically on caravanning and hot rodding in the street racing. We get a lot of calls about that. People are afraid. People don't understand. People believe that they could fall victim to someone driving really fast, and I get it. So we have the initiatives out there. We have the efforts out there. We are going to continue to be very tough in these areas, up to the point of arresting people, up to the point of towing vehicles, and trying to push for the maximum penalty of the law as possible. We're taking this seriously. And so I want that make people understand that. You know, I talk about the 3 E's when we talk about engagement, education, and enforcement. Well, I can tell you when it comes to street racing and caravanning, we're going straight enforcement. So this is the educational part of it that the community is going to get. We're going to go strictly to the enforcement part. And so one of the things that I'm really proud of is that we have designed a card for our citizens what to do when stopped by police. A lot of citizens in both English and Spanish. A lot of citizens really do not understand when you're stopped by a law enforcement officer what's expected. This card specifically talks about when encountering the police, whether it's a traffic stop, whether it's a subject stop, what you should do. Everyone needs to be educated in that. And I've always said that the side of the road is not the place to have court. And so we've got plenty of these cards that we can get to you. They've been really good educational tools for our community, and we'll continue to provide these to our community. Also, let's talk about something we've got coming up this week. This is our third Courageous Conversations event that will occur this week, Thursday night at Mosaic Templar Center from 6:30 to 8:30. We've had some dynamic conversations when it comes to our community and us just listening about their concerns. A lot of it's not about crime, a lot of it's quality of life issues. So this will be that third event. We, tomorrow, also we'll be joining the Collegiate 100 of Philander Smith, and we'll focus on how will our youth and young adults, how can they help us in our efforts to reduce violent crime. But I want to say also that I'm really excited about this city. I'm really excited about this police department. I'm excited about the mayor giving me an opportunity to come here and be the police chief of this city. This city is in good hands. I will tell you that. You have a mayor, and it's not just because he's standing here, but you have a mayor and you have department heads in this city that actually care about the city. I wish people could see the conversations that we have behind the scenes regarding the how much we care about this city and what we can do to make this city safe and what we can do to improve the quality of life, not only from now but in the future. So I want to thank him for that. And you know, my main focus when I came here, when I did my presentation to come here, I focused on 21st century policing, and we've done that. We've hit on all of the 6 pillars of 21st century policing. In the 3 years that I've been here, the department has hit on all 6. From the top to the bottom. And we will continue to focus on 21st century policing. So I just want people to understand that. In a few weeks, we'll be going into our new headquarters. Unfortunately, I won't move into the new headquarters, but I will tell you that I'm excited about the Real-Time Crime Center. That is where it will be located. Mayor, thank you to you and the directors for allowing us the funding to start this process. And it's been an honor to serve Mayor Scott and the city of this city. But I'm also looking forward to retirement and some peace and quiet after decades of 34 years of public safety. But I want to say this before I leave. In James chapter 1, James doesn't say if you face trials, but when you face them. Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds. The point is not to pretend to be happy when you face pain, but to have a positive outlook because of what the trials can produce in our lives. Tough times teach us perseverance, also known as patience and steadfast. That's what I live by. I wouldn't have it any other way. I love being here, and I've been proud, and I continue to be proud to serve the citizens of this city. Lead the men and women of this police department, and what an amazing way to end your 34-year career in the city that you dreamed to be chief of for so many years. So thank you.
Again, we want to share our appreciation to the 34 years of Chief Keith Humphrey's law enforcement career. I'm grateful for him and his leadership here in the city of Little Rock, the state's capital city. Also want to take time to share our appreciation to our assistant chiefs who are here with us today. Assistant Chief Crystal Young Haskins, Assistant Chief Wayne Bewley, Assistant Chief Heath Hilton, and the entire men and women of Little Rock Police Department that are waking up each day to protect and serve each of you. So thank you so much. We'll now take a few questions. Well, we focus on blight in every area of the city, number one, but we are going to be uber focused on areas of high crime areas, particularly areas wards 1, 2, 6, and 7 is where we see a lot of crime and a lot of blight. And so we've already been working on that as it relates to, if anyone follows our city board of directors meetings, we oftentimes are demolishing buildings that are nuisance to the community, are dangerous to the community. A great example of blight, one also part of our Asher Avenue revitalization plan. If you remember growing up in Little Rock, you know the old Advanced Auto on Asher. It's been a homeless encampment and very dangerous. We were able to tear it down, as now it's been torn down. We're working now to bring some new businesses to that particular area, part of our Asher Avenue revitalization plan. And then secondly, we're talking about street lights. Many times, if a resident does not share that a street light is out, we may not know about it unless you're in that particular area. So again, residents, please call 311. There's generally a 2 to 3 day turnaround time that those lights will be fixed by Energy. If you do not call 311, please call 1-800-OUTAGE. We want to ensure that every area of our city is well lit, particularly areas of our city that are experiencing the most crime. Next question.
Mayor Prescott, is LRPD's recent job satisfaction survey one of the reasons for the chief's retirement?
Not at all. Chief Humphrey initiated that staffing survey months ago, and so want to ensure that. And again, secondly, we continue to commend the leadership of Chief Keith Humphrey and the assistant chiefs who are leading the department and working on those personnel issues. Next.
Do you plan on having a chief position before the election?
Yes. Next question.
What are the details on the event at Philander?
Do not know offhand, but we'll make sure Aaron gets you the event at Philander. Do you know the actual details at Philander?
It's a courageous conversation.
We have a courageous conversation. I believe it may start at 6 o'clock.
It's
Yeah,
part of that.
yeah, we'll get you that detail.
One more question.
Yes, ma'am.
What would be some of the advice that you would have Chief Humphrey for those who take your role?
I think that they have to rely on their faith and their experience. They have to listen to the community, and they have to have definitely build a team that they believe that that has the same vision and philosophy that they have. But the main thing is that person has to rely on their faith, their ability to be a subject matter expert, and the experience that got them to the level of being selected as a chief. Yeah. Say it again. Yeah, you will. You know, Little Rock's my home. I mean, there's gonna be some transition to some other places, but I'll always come back to Little Rock. I have 3 years invested in this. My tax dollars have gone here. I vote here, and so Mayor Scott gave me the opportunity to have my dream job as a chief. So yeah, I will still be active in the community. People are still being able to contact me, and I got a lot of mentees in the police department. So I will definitely be around.
Chief, Chief Humphrey, I'd like to see that the increased graduates at 5% now. I'm thrilled to see the rate is negative, but both robbery and homicide are both up almost 50% based on the night numbers. That's 2 more people dead this time than last year. What's the plan to keep that trend to do where you have more homicides this year than you had last year?
We're going to continue to do what we've been doing, and that's deploying our resources in those areas. Our investigators, and I don't want to step on Chief Bewley's toes, are phenomenal. When we get these cases, the timeliness of passing information along to get assistance from the community, we're going to continue to do those things. We need the community to help us, though. We cannot be everywhere. And so our officers are working really hard. We're asking them to do a lot more than we've ever asked them to do. And so that's providing them the support, listening to them when they say that they need things, making sure that they get those things. And then secondly, continuing our efforts with meeting with community members. We have done, we've increased that, and it's been intentional so that we can know exactly where we need to be when we need to be there and what the community expects from us. So we're a service provider, and we want to make sure that we're providing the services that we need. As we've said at the onset of these press conferences, we need the community, when they see something, that they say something. Don't send us an email if there's a crime actually going on. We need you to call the communication center, 911, if it's a violent offense. If you are unaware of whether or not it's a 911 or a non-emergency, call 911. We need to have that actionable intelligence so that we can take action at the time that things are occurring. And I hope that answers the question for you. And we are too. Those detectives are working very hard, but that is a collective effort because patrol officers start the preliminary investigations. They pass those investigations off to the investigators, and then there are a whole other team of individuals that are working together behind the scenes, our crime scene technicians that help to make those cases as well. And pointing investigators in the right direction. So it is a collaborative effort, but our homicide folks are definitely doing the lion's share of the work.
I'm a little concerned, and I'm sure on my own, that on the prevention side, that we have a lot of officers, but when they make the task that there's preventing these homicides and violent crimes, still more than we would also
Sure. As we all know, irrespective of what time we are in our nation, I think anyone who's lived in anywhere knows that summer months tend to increase in violence. And so from our holistic approach, clearly we talk each and every day about the proactive policing that's going on with the men and women of Little Rock Police Department. A shout out again to the officers who have an 85% capture rate, somewhere around 85%. National average is somewhere around 62 to 64%. For those who don't understand what that means, what it basically means, when you commit a crime in Little Rock, you are captured. However, as you shared, the focus has to be on prevention, and what we call that is a holistic approach, and that's the reason why we've leveraged close to $2 million of our American Rescue Plan Act to focus on prevention, intervention, treatment programs within the city of Little Rock to ensure, particularly for our youth and our young adults, that they have something to do, that we're mentoring them, that we're focused on hospital-based intervention, that we're focused on an array of organizations that we're funding, not only from the American Rescue Plan Act, but also what we already fund from the community programs to ensure that our youth have something to do. Also what that means is how do we ensure that our children this summer, we are offering jobs. So if you have a 16 to 24-year-old, again, I'll reiterate this, we have close to 600 jobs available. I believe we've already funded close to 300. If you need a job and you're 16 to 24, come to the city of Little Rock. Secondly, if you're of young age, for at least 7 weeks, we will have our summer playground series. So again, we want to ensure our youth have something to do. That's the reason why we continue to invest in our parks and recreation, not only from a quality of life standpoint, but what we're doing for youth and young adults. And again, that goes to the holistic approach. We're gonna capture the criminals, but how do we prevent the crime? And we prevent the crime by working with our youth, working with our young adults, and providing social services to the extent that's within the city's purview to ensure that that happens. So the work that we're doing, when we talk about this Hope Council, the holistic outreach prevention in every neighborhood, it's not about the present. Clearly, we're going to address the present, but it's about years to come. We're doing work right now that's going to impact lives years to come. Next question, then probably the final question. We plan to make a permanent chief before the election. Everyone have a great day.